What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you're listening to Liquid Carnage. What's up, my friend?
Oh, nothing, man. We had a little technical difficulty yesterday when we tried to record, so we're doing it today. It's exciting.
Yeah, man, it works out. Anchor is a fickle mistress of a podcast recorder. 2 weeks ago, when we recorded with our good friend Dave Watson, I think it finally uploaded yesterday on Monday of this week. I saw a random tweet saying, "If you don't know what to say, have yourself some Liquid Carnage," and it showed a Monday timestamp with the link.
Okay, well then maybe.
So maybe, and because I'm so observant, it was early on a Monday morning. I didn't think to go look at it. So you might have gotten a bonus episode this week.
Oh well, I'll check. I didn't see anything on there, but I'll check.
All right. Well, hey, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, a wild week as the dog days of summer drag on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
had
I think it's getting pretty close to the time where people are getting fed up with this COVID thing. That I'm already sensing that there's going to be a lot of how like after World War II there was a bunch of baby booms. I think there's going to be a lot of divorces and breakups like the next 3 months.
Oh, dude, I think you're absolutely right. I think it started right as COVID was getting started too. Once people realized they had to shack up with somebody through a pandemic for an undisclosed amount of time, I think it really made people think twice about what their life choices are.
Yeah, I think also too, the parents experienced it when they had to watch their kids for a little while, and then couples experienced it when they both had to work together. We say we love each other and we all want to, we love the people we're with, but I think when you spend 24/7 with someone, it's a little draining.
Yeah. I think space is key to a successful relationship. I really do. I think having your own individual life and being able to have your own time to go do your own thing, I think is so important to be able to have something successful with somebody, because you have to be an individual before you can be with somebody.
Well, and I think also that you start to learn when what's that famous line? Absence or abscess?
Absence makes the heart grow fonder,
Yeah,
not
absence
abscess.
makes the heart grow fonder. And when you're with
Abscess does something a lot worse to the heart.
yeah. And when you're absent from someone for a while, like your kids, right? They go to school, they get to play with their friends, but when they get to see you, then there's like, oh, okay, here's my stability, here's my home. When you see them 24/7, nah, dude, get the hell out of my face.
Yeah, it gets a little tiresome. You have to adjust to a lifestyle like that.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, though, when these people break up, when they get single again, that's like a whole culture shock to them too. And I think we've talked about this in the past. It's been a while, but
we have talked about this.
Well, I think once you've been in a relationship for probably more than a year and a half, the dating game evolves. It changes. And I can speak to experience on this, plenty of experience on this. It evolves so fast and so quickly, it takes you a minute to kind of get caught back up. So,
so normally when you break up with someone you've been with for a long time, the first few times everyone compares to the person you broke up with, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, well, or you're a woman, and you say, oh, how are they going to compare to the person that we're with? Because some of these couples are breaking up, like, oh man, I learned a bugaboo about this person. I don't want to have anything to do with this person. The next person, I don't care who they are. As long as they're not this person, I'm fine.
Yeah, it goes back to our episode on relationship deal breaker. Still one of our top 10 episodes ever.
It's the episode.
Well, I was trying to be humble, but yeah, it was number one.
Number one. Yeah, it was awesome.
Numero uno. It goes back. I think people really found out during this time that you have to look deeper into yourself and your partner and make sure this is someone that you really can and want to be with.
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I don't have anyone else but Noreen. So, I put her on more pressure than I am, Yeah. But even that, I mean, like, we spend the days she's at work and I'm at home, or, we spend time apart. If we were both working and living and sleeping together, no, we'd have fun. But I mean, most of the time, most people get tired of it.
Yeah, you would need a little bit of space. You'd both need an opposite end of the house for at least a little while every day.
I would be interested to see at the end of the year if there was an increase in divorces or divorce rate this year.
Well, I'm sure it'll be some weird statistic that the news will throw out there to kind of fuck with everybody. It
Yeah.
seems to be the thing these days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You
So
know, it.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, so you go ahead.
No, I was going to say. So I mean, with when those numbers come out, we'll have to revisit that at that time on the podcast.
Yeah, it always does make me laugh though when I see the breakups or I don't want to say laugh. That sounds very petty and
That did sound
sometimes
a little petty,
cruel,
little
but
non-empathetic, man. Non-empathetic.
non-empathetic, and that's true. I'm trying to be a more empathetic person. It's something I've been working on through all this. But yeah, sometimes you just look at couples like, you know what? I'm not even mad about that. I saw this one coming a mile away. Better luck next time. And that's unfortunate that you kind of get that mindset. But I think everything today is kind of one of those quick, throwaway relationships. It's not an old school world where people used to work on things. They just kind of check out.
Well, okay, so let's look at it because you look at like 70 years ago and earlier, right? You got married to someone. There was a couple things that were definitely kind of focused. One, there was no option. Like you didn't have the choices of leaving someone in societal views was very frowned upon, very frowned
Yes.
upon. Two, normally the female didn't have a lot of money or a lot of resources for themselves. And so the husband was the breadwinner. So you were attracted to someone who made a good income and was stable and kept, things moving. And third, your life expectancy was probably 20 or 30 years younger than it is now. So you get married to someone, you get married
A
at
lifetime.
14 and then your husband dies in 10 years. Okay, well then, I only had to live with someone for 10 years.
Yeah, a lifetime's a whole lot different 40, 50 years ago versus today's standards,
Yeah. Like, okay, let's think about it, Scott. The couple that marries at 22 now, they might live 80 years together.
Yeah.
80 years, man.
That's a very rare thing in today's world, though. You talk about a couple of 22. Did you know who you were at 22?
Oh,
No.
shit, no.
Do you know who you are at 48?
Yeah, better,
but you're still working on it.
Yeah, I mean, I am working on it, but the idea of what I want in a partner is a lot different at 48 than it was at 22.
Yeah, it's
22.
funny,
I just want her to be alive. You know what I mean? Like, just be alive, and we'll move through this.
Yeah, I look at what I wanted at 18 versus 21, 25, 30, 35, and now 39, and they're very, I don't want to say distinctly different women, but they definitely, my taste has matured as I have grown.
Yeah, I also wonder too. Women now, the younger women, they don't need a man. You know what I mean? So they don't need to feel obligated to stay with someone just because, well, I need to have a man or I need to. They make their own money. They don't need a guy. So then you couple that with COVID makes you stay home with someone to learn, oh my gosh, there's a lot of things this person's been hiding from me.
Yeah. Well, how much do you think that happened though during the whole COVID thing? Like, people found out, oh shit, I didn't know that this was going on or that was going on, and things just got found out.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel I remembered it was striking to me when I heard the parents who they made like little videos on the social media about, oh my gosh, we love our teachers, they're so amazing. I don't know how you put up with the shitty kids and all this stuff. And you're thinking even parents who love their kids would never throw their kids out were saying, if I could divorce you, I would divorce you.
Yeah.
Because kids drove them nuts. So that was happening with couples too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's being such a weird time. This is probably a once in a lifetime episode in our history, hopefully, at least a once in every 100 years, to where we can learn from this and move forward with this. And if something similar to this happens again, we can prevent the same mistakes that we're making throughout this. But I think it's really shown the shift in society that people are much more willing to walk away from something than try to fix it. And it's really kind of evolved what the idea of love is, not the old school style of love and relationships, but more of a modern. And I have an ex that really had this philosophy. You're not meant to be with somebody forever. And I think that's taking more and more of a placeholder in our world. You know.
Yeah, I could see that, and I have to be honest. I think that now too, the expectations are a lot different. You know, before you just wanted someone who was willing to work hard, pay the bills, give me a modest home, give me a modest life. And now, you know, you go through these phases where in your 20s you want to have fun and live life and go travel and do everything, and then your 30s I want to have kids, so I want to have a guy who's good with kids. Well, the guy you met in your 20s may not be the guy you want to have kids with in your 30s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in your 40s you say, okay, now I don't want someone who wants kids, I want someone who wants to start saving money and put, well, that might be different than the, you know. So I could see why that your ex would say that, you know, the needs I have at 20 and 30 and 40 are different just because of the time in life. So I think that a lot of people say, look, do I want to be with someone who only wants to be a father?
First of
That's
all,
all he wants to do. He wants to be a father. Great. Well, I don't want to have kids. So do I want to be with the great guy who all he wants to do is be a father when I'm at a different point in my life?
you're giving my ex way too much credit. That's not what she meant by that at all.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I
She
expounded
was
onto something that
yeah,
was
that
not
was
okay.
that was a just a you that's a very sweet idea with your idea, but it's a uh yeah, generational thing. I think it's
Okay.
she was more self-destructive than anything else. That was her way of just softening me up for the eventual blow of moving on to someone else in life.
Well, you know, so let's go back to it for a second. So if you meet someone who is just a great guy for the, or let's say a woman, okay, you meet a woman who's a great woman, and at the time you really, really, really want kids 10 years from now. Let's say you're
Mm-hmm.
25. You meet someone, I love this woman at 25, she's great, but in 10 years I'm going to want kids. At 35 I want kids. And if she is dead set against having kids, you don't even dive into that, right? You don't even dive into that relationship because you know that in 10 years, things are going to fall apart.
Well, hold on. Just let me just poke some holes in this whole theory first off. Um, I don't think anyone at 25 is like, I'm going to wait 10 more years to have kids. I mean, anyone that's got their life planned out like that, they're not getting a date anyway.
Wow.
I mean,
We just lost 50% of our viewers. Those three guys are going to be so upset at us, man.
they'll be back. Don't worry. They always come back. But you know, it's one of those and I've come across these women where they don't want to have kids, and you have to be okay with not having kids or any more kids or whatever else. I'm not going to have kids. I know that. 39 years old. I've done the math. I don't want to have kids at this point. I'm all right dating somebody with them, but I don't want them.
Okay.
I think you can't look down the road and say in 10 years I'm going to want this, because you can't even look down the road 6 months and say that. You know. So to sit there and say it's going to take 10 years to want this or that, the other thing, like, I don't buy into that at all.
So then I guess that supports the premise I said earlier was, you know, I think that the reason why people don't stay together 50 years anymore is because most people, when they get to that point where they start to see a crack in the veneer of the person they're with, they realize, well, I know this person. They're not going to be what I want them to be for the next phase of my life. So let me just go find someone who will be that person for that phase.
Yeah, that's a very definite reality in today's world. You
And
know,
you know, this COVID thing, I think, you know, might be just expounding more of the faults that people have, and the realization that I don't want to put up with someone like this like this small hiccup in our relationship is really doesn't make me happy, so I'm going to move on and do something else.
yeah, I think what it comes down to is some people realize that have realized through this that there's a certain life they want to live. So if they want to live that life, they have to change the lifestyle or the current life they're leading. And you know what? I went through something similar that at the start of all this. I mean, had COVID not happened, this would have happened to me regardless. But you know, a very similar situation where apparently different things are wanted. I don't know. I never got a final conversation. But you know, in today's world, I was just told that I need to go figure myself out.
Yeah, go figure myself out. That's right. Yeah, I'm going to go figure myself out now means whatever I wanted, you are at me, not in the future, say I'm going to think, figure some things out for myself, it's very possible that, oh, you know what, 5 years from now, you know what, now I am someone like you.
Yeah, that's keeping a foot. That's keeping one foot in the door or a toe in the
Yeah.
water, or whatever you want to call it. So that's giving false hope, and that's not okay. But that's just the way that's what people do. And I'll admit I'm guilty of it. I said that before, not realizing what it actually does
Oh,
or what it
believe me,
actually
the first
means.
20 years of my adult life was a nonstop. I need to figure out who I am. And the person I married was right for the time that I married and then wrong for for when
Oh
I
yeah,
wanted something else. Well, that's not fair to that person. That's not right. But it happened. And, I look back now and think, wow, Jason, you are the problem. You were the problem in that. They weren't the problem. You were the problem.
yeah. And it takes a lot to admit that you have those faults and that you need to work on those faults.
And so the question then becomes, is it possible in today's world to be with someone for the 60 plus years like it
I would.
was 50 years ago? I
Anything
mean,
is possible. Anything is
Noreen's
possible.
parents are celebrating their 69th wedding anniversary June 1st, or they already celebrated their 69th wedding anniversary June 1st.
My parents are on, I think, 40. This January will be 45 years.
Yeah. My parents,
So,
if my parents would have been married, well, they were married. If my parents had both been alive and stayed married, this year would have been 50 years. November would be 50 years that they were together.
yeah, I think it depends on the people, and everyone's different, and I think everybody gets married to the idea with the belief that this one's gonna be forever. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. There'd be exit clauses in marriage certificates if people truly believe that they were going to get divorced at some point.
And it leads you to think, because we've heard this statement a few times where some women, they want the marriage or the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Where they said, I want the idea of the wedding, right? I want everything to be focused on me, and I want this and that, and I want the pretty dress and all the, everything. But when it comes to the actual marriage part, they kind of fail a little bit. They don't do quite what they were looking for.
Yeah, that leads me to a Liquid Carnage business idea. The Liquid Carnage full wedding experience. Hear me out now.
Okay, I'm listening.
For all of those women out there, and you know what, guys, for you too, for everyone that wants that full wedding experience with none of the hassle of having the whole marriage thing afterward, why don't we wedding plan for them, help them pick out the venue? We can find a standing groom / bride, whatever. That way, someone that looks good in the pictures. You have a party, you cut the cake, you take all the pictures, you have the presents, and you have all the memories you can post on the social media. You can hang up in your house, and then you never have to see that person again because that was just the person in the pictures, a prop, if you will.
Now, what would be really weird to get into is, getting into where you marry. Oh man, never mind. I don't even want to say it now because I'm thinking about it, and I would cause so many issues. So I'm just gonna bypass it, not even say what I was thinking. But if we gave them the experience, would we have to provide some sort of training on, okay, if you're going to enjoy the experience, these are the things that you also have to know, how to handle stresses, how to handle changes in your attitude and that kind of thing.
Why? We're just providing a wedding experience for them.
I know, but just providing the experience, we're Renaissance men. You know what I mean? Like, do we also provide a training?
Yeah, but why the fuck we want to give them a breakdown of what it's like to be married if they just want the wedding experience? If they just want the pictures, we don't have to tell them what the car wreck afterwards like.
Okay, so all we're giving them is we charge them $5,000. We give them a really handsome fiance.
Yeah,
and we give them all the good pictures and the food and all that stuff.
Hold on a second. My brood, my prospect is chiming in. I'm sorry. I am fostering a fourth dog right now, so we are learning the ropes of the house. And while most boys know, all the boys know not to speak during the show, he's trying to roughhouse right now and play. And so just if you hear some barks, bear with us.
Okay, well, I guess the point is that if we're just going to give them the experience, then we can pick any guy they want, right? We'll have like a list of all the guys, pictures of the guys that they want to marry.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's like a catalog. It's like getting a cake from a baker. Like, oh, we have Steve, 6'4", 200 pounds, plays basketball. We drop him like a hundo to wear a tuxedo and say, "I do" for some wedding pictures. No big deal.
I know, but also don't they have to be open to consummating the marriage, right?
Hey man, that's prostitution. We don't support that at Liquid Carnage.
No, we're not charging for it. I'm just
well,
saying.
You're asking like if we're providing a service and consummating is one of the package deals. Technically, that makes us pimps, and we can't get into that kind of business legally.
I know, but why would a woman want to go through just the wedding if they're not going to at least consummate the deal with the handsome guy? What the hell?
I don't disagree, but that cannot be a part of our business model.
Okay, got it.
If a side agreement can be worked out between the model and the bride or vice versa, that is none of our business. We are not legally viably responsible for that. Right.
Yeah, because that's a good point.
And I just want to make sure that's clear on the air now. That way, when this happens, if this ever happens, they can't go back to Liquid Carnage Season 4, Episode 7, 8, whatever we're on, and have us talking about starting a prostitution ring guised as a wedding business.
I have a question. You were a minister for a long time and did a lot of weddings. One of the things that happens in a church is they make the couple go to like counseling, pre-counseling, where they, have them kind of, I don't even know what the counseling does, but it kind of prepares for, I don't know, guess what to expect. Did you offer any kind of counseling when you were doing the services?
Let's be real. What kind of counseling would I be able to offer? I don't know.
That's why I'm wondering if maybe the way that these couples will survive the coronavirus is they had counseling prior to the wedding to say, here's what you have to look at. Because I got to tell you, the toughest part to me is not necessarily the emotional contingencies of a divorce or a separation. It's that you're breaking up a legal corporation in essence, and there's a lot of shit that has to happen in order for you to do that.
Well, the reason I never offer counseling, it's basically you get what you pay for. People often paid for my services with a 12-pack, a bottle of whiskey, whatever. So when you look at my marriage record, I'm like 2 for 23 at this point.
No, 10%.
Those aren't good stats.
Good, my friend.
No, and I'm not. It's not something I'm proud of. I don't really brag about it. And I tell it to people when they ask if I perform their ceremony. It's like, I'd like to, but realistically, I'm 2 for 23. And one of those that are still married, they were just renewing their vows, so I don't know if it really counts.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, it was a question that, because now it gets me a little sad. Like, how do we even expect that in the next 50 years we're going to have couples that stay together for the long haul? It's almost like the idea of marriage is changing. It's like you marry for a 10-year contract, and then after 10 years, then you renegotiate and see if you want to do another 10-year contract.
I think the idea and the concept of marriage is evolving. I think you're probably seeing less and less marriages and probably more and more commitment ceremonies, which is basically all the wedding, none of the legalities.
Yeah, like,
and I think seeing that, you'll probably get more of a higher success rate, just because you're not legally bound to it. It's more of a choice, but less of a legal hassle.
Yeah. And I mean, you still can't get away from some of the old stereotypes that, some of these people are just searching for sugar mama or, daddy warbucks or whatever, that they're not going to get married. Even if you give them counseling, even if you shorten the term to a 10-year contract to start, they're still going to marry for money or still marry for, having a token bride or whatever.
Yeah. It's such a strange evolving world too. So you never know what the idea of marriage could be in 5 to 10 years as it is too, Yeah.
And I give all the props in the world to these couples that are, married 15, 20 years, and still going strong and still have, an actual affection for their spouse. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a commitment, man. It takes work, and it takes finding the right person in the right time of your life that wants the same things, and you're both willing to work and doing the same
You know, and
goals,
I feel like I'm a little jaded because at this point, when I hear that someone is breaking up or they're not going to make it, I truly I get a little upset if someone, cheated on someone or something, did something bad. But on the other side, I say, you know what? It's better you found out now and you can move on with your life than, being in a marriage for 30 years and then finding out that they never loved you. You know what I mean? Like,
oh
so
yeah,
I get to
absolutely.
that point. It's like, well, it's sad that it's happening, but at least you guys are moving forward and, trying to find a better, happy life. So I can kind of at least sympathize with them and say, you know what? You're trying to do something better for yourself.
I think the moral of the story is that everybody deserves to be happy. And if you're not happy in the situation you're in, be mature and adult enough to
Yeah.
be honest about it. If you're mature and adult enough to get married, so when I say mature and adult enough, I put those in
Right.
quotation marks. Um, then be mature and adult enough to say why you don't want to be in that relationship anymore. Don't give false hope. Don't give outs, whatever else. Just be an adult and say it. I mean, at the end of the day, you'd want that same respect. So you'd have to treat people the same way you want to be treated. And if you can't do it for somebody else, don't be surprised when it happens
Now,
to you someday.
I will say this: if you discover something about your spouse through the COVID, like just spending more time with them, that you feel like you were lied to or betrayed to, hey, it's a temporary thing. The COVID will go away. You'll have that distancing again. You
Yeah,
might still not like the person, but at least you want to spend every waking moment with them.
Absolutely. So that being said, as we wrap up this conversation, do you have a crazy breakup story? Are you thinking about doing it and just don't have the right idea on how to actually do it? You want some advice? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you want to throw our EP Tom some great dating advice from the great state of Colorado, the Denver metro area, hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at liquid_EP.
Scott, I think you and I should flesh out the Liquid Carnage marriage experience.
I'm telling you, bro, there is money to be made in this marriage experience.
Maybe we look into that. And if people have some ideas of how to best weigh some of the techniques and things that we could do to make it an experience that people would love to have, and then, not have to worry about it, let us know.
See, here's where we differ on this. You're trying to make it this whole experience to give them everything. I am basically offering these people my plan. Let's offer these people the pictures, the reception, the actual wedding itself. You can invite your friends. I don't fucking care. You're paying price per head for the food. We're just facilitating a dream for people.
I don't know. It just sounds really odd to me that you would go and spend all this money to have pictures taken so that people can say, "Oh, when'd you get married?" "Oh, I didn't."
No, not just the pictures.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
wedding day
when did
itself.
You get married? "Oh, I didn't get married. I just had wedding pictures taken."
Yeah, but there are 7 billion people on this planet. You can't tell me there's not a whole handful, maybe a million or two that would pay for that service.
Let's say 2,500 times a million people, we'd be rich, baby.
Yeah, that's it, man. All I'm saying is you don't need 7 billion suckers. You just need a handful.
Give love a chance, man. Give weddings a chance.
Give love a chance. Oh man. On that note, Jason, why don't you go ahead and take us
everyone. We hope that you're staying safe out there. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.